Good morning, people in the south, and my people in the east. Good day, friends in the west. Good afternoon, my dudes in the north. Good evening. How you guys doing? We inherit systems. We inherit systems from people who bring us up, from people who look after us, from guardians, from parents, from teachers, from pastors, from coaches, from lecturers. We inherit systems from these people. Without being aware, we inherit those systems that we don't even know. So we inherit systems from people whom we look up to. We inheriting systems from people that are bringing us up. So as a parent, your kids are going to inherit systems from you. Most definitely, your kids are going to inherit systems from you. And they will not be aware that they are inheriting that particular system. A system could be anything, a way of life, the way they speak, the way they address each other, the way they address other people, the way they it's winter in South Africa, so most of us we're going through the most in terms of winter challenges. Our throats are not comfortable, etc., etc. So most of the people in the south are going through the same challenge. So these systems could be anything. Could be anything that your kids are going to draw from you. So today I want to talk about us as parents to build systems that we would like our kids to inherit, being aware. Because most of the systems that we inherited from our parents, we were not aware that we were inheriting. And sometimes the parents themselves were not aware that they are passing on this kind of system to us. So today I want to talk about building systems, which we are aware of, which we're going to pass on to our children, for them to pass on as legacy to their children. And these systems are systems that are in line with disruptive innovation. So if entrepreneurship and disruptive innovation is not your thing, then you have landed on the wrong page. You are not the target market. Because here we speak about business, and not just business, but coming up with systems and ideas. So today let's talk about building systems. You get your first job at the age of 38 in a crunchy economy like South African economy. You get your first job at the age of 38. First job, age of 38. You've already passed a mark of being youth. You're already a senior citizen. You get your first job at that age. And you get your first child. This is a general view and a general perspective. I'm not tying up anything here with a specific person. If you don't want to have a child, it's okay. I'm not talking about you. So you get your first job at 38. You've already passed the mark of being youth. You are above youth. You get your first child at the age of 40. Because now you think you have an income which can probably take care of this child in case something doesn't go well between the two of you as parents. So you get your first child at 40. I don't want to get into the biology part of getting your first child at 40. I want to get into the business part of getting your child at 40. 38, you get your first job. 40, you get your first child. 42, you get your first car. 50, you get your first house. You move out of your parents' house to go live on your own, in your own space. Actually, at 50, you don't get your first house. You get your first place to stay alone. Your own place. Yeah, let me put it that way. 50, you get your own place to stay. You move out of your home at, say, 45. Let me not stretch it too far to 50. 45, you move out, you go get your own place. Not yet your own house, but just your own place. 45. That is a system. You might not have inherited it from your parents, but one of the elements that made you to end up in that kind of system is because you were taught by your parents about something to do with employment, something to do with making children, something to do with moving out of your parents' house. But because the odds of your economy were not on your side, you could not do certain things. You had to wait for certain things to happen so certain things can start taking place. That is not the system we want to build. We want to build a system that's going to be inherited by you as my child at the age of 50 while you're still attending your high school education. We want to build a system that you as my child at the age of 10, you'll be able to sit with me as your father and learn how to build this system further and learn how this system would be passed from me to you. That system we don't want to build. We want to build this one. We want to build this system where me and you as my child will sit and share perspectives and ideas around how you can build your own house at the farm somewhere without attaching yourself to a specific system. Those are the systems I want to talk about. If you get your first child at 40, and then you put your things together and you move out of your mother's house, and then at 45, you move out of your mother's house. When are you going to travel? Just to mention one hobby. When are you going to travel? How are you going to teach your kids how the world looks like if you've never been anywhere because you are not employed? How are you going to tell and teach your kids how to obtain a passport from the Department of Home Affairs? Because there's people in their countries today who does not or don't have passports and they don't know how a passport is acquired. They don't know how a passport is acquired, and they don't know how a passport is used, and they don't know the purpose of having a passport, and they don't know that passport has got value. They've got different weights. Passport has got weights. My passport and your passport in USA doesn't weigh the same. They don't have the same weight. They might be the same in size, but when you put them on a scale, on an economic scale, they don't weigh the same. Perhaps my South African passport will weigh more than your American passport. We don't know. But how on earth are you going to teach your kids that if you don't know? Who do you expect these kids to learn these things from? Who is going to teach your kids about the weight of their passports? Hey, let's build systems that are going to be inherited by our kids, which will enable them to pass that to their kids as well. Let's build systems that are going to build wealth for our kids, where their kids will know for sure that their future is secured economically. Now, when, excuse me, when your kids graduate from university or college, who do you expect to give your kids employment? Who do you expect your kids will find jobs from? Who do you think is going to create jobs for those kids? Perhaps you have three, perhaps you have two, perhaps you have one kid. Who do you think in your head is going to create employment for that kid? Who? Let's take the government and put them there at the corner and forget about them. Let's talk private sector. We'll talk about government maybe later in another episode. Who do you think is going to give your kid a job? Who do you think currently they are creating jobs and preparing jobs such that your kid, who is 15 now, will be employed at this particular firm where they are preparing the firm now, they're building the firm now, they're building systems now, such that 7 years later, your kid will be 22. They will be hired at that particular firm or company. Who, in your head, who is going to do that for you on your behalf? And I believe it's my responsibility. It's my responsibility to build an economy that is going to be conducive for my children's future. It's my responsibility to build a firm, a company that is going to be able to offer employment for my kids and perhaps their friends. I don't want to talk about their friends' parents, but their friends. Perhaps. I don't know who their friends are going to be at 22, but probably they're going to come together at my company and ask, probably my son's going to ask if dad can offer his friend a job, because he knows that dad has created so much jobs. He can always create something for his friend. So if we can answer that question, then we are secure. We have built a system that is going to be inherited by our children to run with, So I believe, and I think, actually, let's grab the belief. I think we are not building systems enough. I think we are not building enough systems. We're not building systems enough, and we are not building enough systems for the next generation. We are not at all. We need these systems more than education itself. The education that we think we are preparing them, we pay school fees and we feel content that I have paid school fees for my child for the entire year. Then when he's done and graduating, who's going to give them employment? I think we are not building enough systems for these kids that we have made, that we've brought into this world. We need these systems more than the education that we're sending them to. And they don't know. You know. And you are not aware that they are inheriting this system from you. They're going to send their kids to the same school. Some parents are even lucky their kids are going to the same school that they went to themselves. So you've inherited the system from your parents, you pass it to your kids, and your kids are just going to easily pass it to their kids. They're going to send their kids to the same school that you went to, their grandmother and their mother went to, and they are going to the same school now. Because such school will be, normally you see them by celebrating 90 years. If I'm 4 years old and the school is celebrating 90 years, so the school is old enough to have taken through my parents. You know, if I went to the same school, that means we went to the same school. So we are not building enough systems to cater for our kids' economic future. We are setting our kids for failure, and we are fully aware that we are setting them up for failure because we think by the time they start getting into these challenges, we would be dead. Let me tell you, you'll be alive, and your heart will be so that there's nothing you can do for them, that you can't help them. And then you will end up telling them that you've paid expensive school fees for them, they must make plans. What plan are they going to make? What plan do you think these kids are going to make? Because they have inherited the same system that you have inherited from your parents. System that does not give them anything when they are ready to start their lives. Because you start living your life after graduating. Before graduation, you are not actually living your life. You are still living under a specific channel, so to speak. So we are not building systems enough. We need these systems more than we need the education that we think we need the most. We don't need that education. We need systems. There's a certain race of people in the world who are taking their kids exactly through what I'm talking about. The kids don't go to school. The school that the kids know, it's the school that their parents are taking them through with them. The parents put the kids down and they take them through a specific education about life in economics. And there's nothing you can do to these kids. There's nothing they don't know. These kids have got companies listed in security exchanges. These kids are flying everywhere. These kids owns assets everywhere. These kids are well advanced. They know what's going on in the economy of the world. But there's this kid in my community right now who does not know what our neighboring countries' names are. This kid does not know, and this is literally true because I bumped into a kid in the street and I asked her. She had bought something from the shop, and then unfortunately she lost that thing that she bought, and then I had to convince her to come with me so I can buy two of those things that she lost, so that she can, So I started to have a little conversation with this kid, and that's what I normally do with kids. And I asked her, "Do you know where Zimbabwe is?" Yes. Then I asked, "Do you know where Botswana is?" She said, "Yes." Then I asked, "Do you know where Lesotho is?" She said, "Yes." Then I said, "Do you know where Namibia is?" She said, "Yes." And then I said, "Where is Lesotho?" Then she said, "Lesotho is in America." I don't know what grade, I don't know this kid. I don't know what grade she's in, but she said Lesotho is in America. Then I said, "Then if Lesotho is in America, which country do we live in?" Then she said, "We live in South Africa." And then I said, "Then where is Botswana? As we living here in South Africa, where is Botswana? Can you point where Botswana is?" She said, "I don't know, but Botswana is somewhere." She mentioned the name of a town. So she said it's somewhere next to this town. Meaning Botswana is not a country. It's some kind of a city. And I started to pick up that the kid does not have that information. She doesn't know the difference between continents and countries. She doesn't know the direction on the map. She doesn't know where north is, where south is, west and east. She doesn't know. She says Lesotho is in America. I'm not kidding. I could have recorded this, so I'll maybe add this on this video. She said Lesotho is in America. Then after that, she laughed. I thought she was kidding, and the kid was not kidding. And I left it at that because I don't think it's my responsibility, because now I was going to have to sit her down and start to talk. I don't think it was my responsibility, because I just found her being in that situation, and I just wanted to help her from the situation. But as we were in the process of helping her, I started a small talk with her regarding our neighboring countries. So it sparked this episode. The things that the kids are learning from us are the things that are going to mold how the kid's life ends, or how the kid's life, let me rephrase that. The things that the kids are learning from us are going to mold how the kid's life turns out to be, not ends, turns out to be. So we need to build systems that are going to enable us to present a conducive economy to these kids. We're coming up with innovative ideas. We tying this, we tying that, we building systems, we building apps, because we're trying to build systems that are going to be inheritable by our kids. We going up and down every day. We go to honor our contracts with our employers. And then when you come back, we're tired. The kids came back from school earlier than you, and you don't really have time to sit down with them and educate them. Do you know what 365 days is? It's a long time for a kid to grasp as much information as possible from you, which is different from what they learn from school. Question is, do you know the things that your kid is supposed to know? If you don't, what are you going to teach or tell the kid every day when you come back from work? If maybe there's a need for you to teach the kid something, what are you going to teach this kid? I teach my kids about things that I know. I talk to my kid about things that I never knew existed. Now that I know them, then I'm able to transfer the information and knowledge into her. I teach my kids about how things sometimes turn out to be. I teach my kids that I actually had a chat with my kid to ask me a difficult question every day. Every day she must ask me a difficult question, something that keeps her wondering. She must ask me. If she gets used to doing that, she's stretching her medulla to always be curious about the situation around her. I heard someone saying, or I saw someone on social media saying, education is no longer a key to success. We need a new key. I think these people were right. It came out as a joke. People were laughing that, yes, it comes out as a joke, because what we grew up knowing was that education is a key to success. And then this guy came on social media, he recorded himself, then he said, I think he's a Jamaican guy. He's not, I just judged by his accent. He speaks in a Jamaican accent. He was like, we need a new key. This education key is no longer a key, man. We need a new key, man. Yeah, man, we need a new key. And a lot of people um, took in his humor, but the guy was right. The guy was 100% correct. Education is no longer key to success. We need a new key. What is a new key? A new key is building systems for our kids to inherit, because education is not going to work for them any longer and anymore. Our kids are being taught about things that are not going to be used, or things that are not going to work in the next 10 years. They are being taught in the next 10 years, our kids will have perhaps graduated. The next 10 years, some kids will be 23, 25 years old. They would have started working. So they are being taught about things that are not going to be used in the next 10 years. And you expect this kid to know what AI is, to know what AI does. The only thing that teaches these kids about AI is the phones that they're always glued on. If these phones and social media and all of these things were not there, these kids wouldn't know what AI is. If AI came during our time in the 80s, when we grew up, we wouldn't have known that there's something called AI until you start working and somebody at work starts teaching you about something called AI. So education is no longer the key that opens the doors that we need opened. We need a new key. And what is a new key? A new key is building systems for our kids to inherit. I'm trying to build such systems. I'm trying very hard to build such systems, such that when I die, my kids will inherit the systems I built and secure a better future, a better economic future for their kids as well. Then they will never forget me. Someone asked somewhere, I think I was reading something, someone asked if you know all your great-grandfathers from your grandfather. Then someone said, if you can mention 5 of them backwards, the father of your grandfather, the father of him, the father of this one, the father, if you can mention 5 of them, then it means they have left something for you. You've inherited something from them. If you can't, it means they left nothing for you. And most of us, we don't know who their great of their grandfathers. 5 times backwards. We don't. You just know your grandfather, which is the father to your dad. And then you know, perhaps, probably, this one who gave birth to your grandfather. So you know 3 generations from you. Your dad, his dad, and their dad. From there, you don't know. And ask yourself, did these people bring themselves here on earth? Then you need to be inquisitive enough and find out, who are these people? But because they left nothing, you don't know them. Think about it. If this one has left a farm and named it after himself, and he passed it on to this one, who also acquired another farm next to this farm that this one left and named it after himself too. And then you have a chain of farms in one space. And all these farms are given names of people. And then you ask, why do we have farms that are named after people's names? Then someone was going to explain to you, maybe if you're still a boy, that this was great-grandfather's farm. He passed it to this one made money and bought the one next door, this one made money and bought the one next door. Now you are the owner of all these farms. You wouldn't have forgotten who they are. You wouldn't have. So let's build systems that are going to be inheritable by our kids, our children, and they will be able to secure their children's future, so that 5 generations from you, no one will ever forget you. So building a system through innovation allows your kids to learn more around disruptive innovation, more around technology, more around many other things that are still coming in the future, you know. So most of the systems that we especially as black people are used to building don't last. Most of the systems that we as black people are used to building, now we used to building systems that don't last simply because they lack sustainability. So I'll give you an example. My mother used to own used to have my mother used to be a business used to be an entrepreneur basically, and then she was selling fruit and veg, she was selling this and this at schools and stuff like that. What happened to that business? It vanished in thin air. I don't know when she stopped, I don't know why she stopped, I don't know what happened, but that system was working at the time. She was making money for the family, and the family was benefiting from that system. Why was it not sustainable? I do not know. I can't tell you. Because I was working in my mother's system, which was the fruits and veg market, the stores that she had in different schools and stuff like that. What happened to that system? I can't even tell you what happened to that system. Somehow she just one day woke up and the system was not there anymore. So our systems don't last. So let's start looking into systems that we're going to build, and this system are going to be sustainable and last 5 generations from us. You know what I mean? Yeah. So the fact that your parents were not privileged and couldn't build the house for your family. I know your parents were not that. It's a fact. Your parents were not that privileged, and they couldn't build a house for you as a nuclear family. Your parents and your siblings, they couldn't build a house for you, and you have to start there. The fact that you have to start there because they were not privileged enough says a lot about the systems that they grew up in, the systems that you are going to or you have inherited from them. Most of us, we started from scratch. Most of us, we started from the word go. Most of us, we started from, we did not take over the baton from anyone. We went back to go, and when we started going, the word go. Every time I hear this phrase that I from the word go, I picture an athlete standing there waiting to be told go, and then you start running. So some, very few lucky of our friends and acquaintances have taken the baton from someone else. So they didn't have to start there and build a house for the family. But some, like us, we had to go back and start building a house for the family, making sure that the family has got a sustainable economy by finding yourself an employment, which is what you have learned and inherited from your parents. If my parents had inherited systems from my great grandparents, I would have inherited the same system when they died. Today, I was going to be more than prepared to pass that system down to my children and my grandchildren. So, in closing, check out the support programs on one of the websites that we always shout out. One of those websites is called VC4A. VC4A has got a whole lot of support programs available. They have loaded a whole lot. I think there's page 6 now. You go page 1, page 2. I think one page has got about 8 support programs. So it's page 1, page 2, page 3 support programs for our businesses. Go through VC4A, V for Violet, C for Charlie, 4 as a numeric number 4, A for admin, A for astronaut, A for acrimony. Yeah, go to that website and look for those support programs, the one that suits your business, the one that suits you as an entrepreneur. Apply and start playing a role in growing your business. One step at a time, one brick at a time. The building will eventually show that something is being built here. And that's how we're going to do this thing. That's how we're going to build businesses. Don't forget to subscribe. There will be a pop-up here. Just click on the pop-up and subscribe to this channel so we can always receive this fresh information from us. And let's grow this thing together. Let's build systems. Till then, I'll see you next week. Next week.